Last year, British politics was shaken up by a lot of things. As a result, new residents arrived here in Downing Street. Barely a day has gone by without Theresa May in the news, but we in Westminster are just as fascinated by the people who write her speeches, brief her, and craft her image. But who are they? What do they look like? And how influential have they been? Two people dominate May's world. Her two joint chiefs of staff, Nick Timothy and Fiona Hill. Miss Hill worked vociferously on anti-slavery and trafficking laws whilst Theresa May's aide at the Home Office. She once told the Sunday Politics her boss's view of focus groups.
I think she would have a scepticism about them.
And how her party needed to sell itself better.
He was talking about compassion, he was talking about communities, he was talking about values. Well, do you know what? The Conservatives have all of those, but they need to tell people that they do.
The hugely influential Nick Timothy has put the just about managing centre stage. As a pro-Leave voice, he's helped shape the type of Brexit the Prime Minister is advocating and has put grammar schools on the No.10 timetable after once getting a similar message across on BBC London.
We're very confident that there will be enough free schools opening in the next 5 years to meet the demand we're talking about.
Fiona and Nick's deputy, Joanna Penn, or Jojo as she's affectionately known, is a former Home Office policy officer and said to be a trusted link between the PM's office and the rest of the building. Heading the No.10 policy unit is John Godfrey. Formerly of investment bankers Lehman Brothers and insurers Legal & General, he's examining how insurance can help people on low incomes guard against problems in their lives. His deputy, Will Tanner, is focusing on improving mental health support and our public services. Previously, as a think tank researcher, he hit the airwaves concluding prisons were better run privately after the government had signalled a move away from privatisation.
And fundamentally what we found is that the government's own figures suggest that that's not the right course of action.
Right, time for the odd one out round now. Is it Theresa May's big speech on Brexit at Lancaster House, her big speech on foreign relations in Philadelphia, her nasty party speech, or her conference speech? That's right. Despite reports to the contrary, the nasty party speech is the only one of those speeches from the PM her Director of Strategy Chris Wilkins didn't write. He was, by the way, Nick Timothy's boss once, who also had a hand in some of those speeches. So who's in charge of keeping this lot fed? Theresa May's Director of Communications is Katie Perrior. Before becoming the PM's top spin doctor, she was Boris's during his first run for Mayor of London after setting up her own PR agency. Oh, and she's been on the box with Anne Robinson after campaigning for Waitrose, also a fave of Theresa May's, to be built in Sidcup.
Do I want another pound shop? I'll go in a pound shop. I don't want two. One's enough. So I really wanted somewhere that...
Raised the tone?
It did. Yeah, that sounds really middle class, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've just realised I've got chorizo on my pizza and that's slightly middle class.
The PM's press secretary is Lizzie Loudon. She's been on an ideological cross-country journey since working for the Lib Dems, then Ian Duncan Smith, followed by the Vote Leave campaign. She's now by the PM's side for all her press appearances and interviews. And coming soon, as the Daily Mail might put it, it's poacher turned gamekeeper James Slack. Currently on a fast-track civil service course, the former Mail political editor once had the Home Affairs brief when he got to know the PM and should be her spokesperson within weeks. For those that can't wait, here's a sneak preview from an old edition of Radio 4's Week in Westminster of how good he thinks she is.
Theresa's big strength is that if there were to be a crisis, whether it to be a terrorist attack or something else, I think she would be the one who, along with the Prime Minister, who the country would look to. And that is her big selling point as a politician. It's not going to be charisma.
And before we go, two rather more political insiders. Political director Alex Dawson preps Theresa May ahead of PMQs. He's the half-brother of Gabby Burton. Yes, you may remember her from a previous edition of Westminster Village as David Cameron's press secretary. And let's not forget political secretary Stephen Parkinson, who keeps Conservative HQ in check, handles elections, and did rather well as head of ground operations for Vote Leave, as he told Newsnight.
In some of our best areas, we've leafleted every household in that parliamentary constituency more than once, and that's something that probably didn't happen at the general election.
Analysing No.10 under a new broom, thank you, a pattern emerges. Theresa May has swept up much of her top team from her former residence, the Home Office. And from here, the Conservative Party headquarters, and in particular, the Conservative Research Department. Oh, and one more activist seen working here made his way into No.10. an investments guru pictured phone banking during a recent by-election campaign, otherwise known as Philip May, Theresa May's husband.